I decided to be a Talks mentor because I realized that if I had had access to that information and those concepts and those approaches to life, it would have really benefited me when I was younger. And I wanted to pass the opportunities to gain the benefit from that information to younger people.
Most of the guys that I deal with, and I usually have 3 or 4 a year, I'd say 70 to 80% come from broken homes. Usually they've got some academic issues. And so my challenge is kind of getting to know them, getting to understand me and them, and develop a relationship.
As the weeks went on, it was, you were more excited to get there and didn't want to leave.
When the girls suddenly decided that they could tell me anything and I would listen. And that made me feel better. That made me feel like I was making some contact. I love to be able to talk to them and have them be able to feel that they can talk back to me.
Every time we met, I learned something as much as they did. So I think that every time that we met, it had an impact on my life. I would hope it had an impact on their lives. The girls still text me. I see them out in public all the time. They run up and give me hugs. So I think it means something to me to be able to be there for these girls, not just during the school year and the few months we spend together, but for possibly the rest of their lives. So it's a bond and a friendship that really means a lot. I think that between my girls, it really built friendships with them, so they didn't feel so alone at school.
I've had 3 different sets of kids, and this last year was the first year that the 2 kids weren't necessarily friends, but they ended up friends at the end of the talks time.
My first year, I had a young man who had a real temper problem. He went to Area 30 and got into the culinary arts program as a junior. That was the year that Area 30 won the culinary state title, and they got to go to the nationals. And it was in South Carolina, and I gave him $100 towards his cost. You would have thought I gave him the world. I was at a luncheon with the prison folks from the prison here, and his mother was a waitress. And she came up and introduced herself and hugged me and started crying. She'd never had somebody have that sort of effect, that program, as it did on her son's life.
Having one of the former students that's just a year out of high school call me over and say, hey, I was just named Employee of the Month, and I'm just in a really good place right now. And knowing that this same person just 3 years earlier had told me, I don't really have any role models in my life. The only role models I see in my life right now are the mentors that come and talk to me on Wednesday mornings.
Coming in and being a sounding board for the kids and giving them real life advice and making them realize that they can do so much more is so important. A lot of the kids in the program and the girls I dealt with and had the privilege of being their mentor, they didn't always feel confident. They're so smart and they just didn't feel confident. They didn't feel like they could fulfill the dreams and the goals that they had, and that's not true.
We've known some of these kids who graduated out of the Talks program into suddenly going out for things to do at school, signing up to do something that they might not have signed up to do before. We're making inroads, we are, and I think it's important to keep it going.
But I think it's real important that the students have someone that they can go to, an adult outside their family, just to talk things over, to show interest in them, to listen to them, to accept them for who they are. I hope that we had the sense that they are valued, no matter what their situation.